Okay, guys, so I want to talk about a topic that is very controversial in the animation industry. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because I was having a conversation with one of the people I worked with on Netflix, and he really wanted to know my opinion on AI. So I assume maybe more people might want to know my opinion on AI. And it's not the conventional opinion that you often see on social media. I think a lot of people might be angry at me with regards to my opinion on AI, but hear me out. And this is my opinion on AI as a storyboard artist and as an artist who has been working or grew up in a developing country and never moved to United States or North America for work. First of all, a lot of my students ask me my opinion on AI because they want to know if it's worth it to still try and get into the animation industry or to even learn these skills, or if they should just get a regular job. And for me, I find it so crazy to even think about that question or hear an artist ask that question. Because for me, growing up, wanting to be an artist, there was no other option. Like I needed to do this or I would die. And those were the two options: become an artist or die, or just become very mentally ill, right? So the thought of giving up becoming an artist because you see AI generated images and you see, I guess, regular people or business heads being able to create art without the artist. And the reason why I find this crazy is because the reason why I wanted to become an artist was mainly so that I could create art for a living, right? So that sentence is composed of two things: creating art and making a living. Now, the bigger reason why I wanted to become an artist is to create art. And if I made a living doing that, I would be super, super happy. But the thing is, even if I wasn't able to make a living from making art, I would still make art. I would still tell stories. I would still try, to create like a graphic novel or, storyboard something or, make a comic, a manga or something, even though I wasn't getting paid, because I'm passionate about creating art. And I probably would have just gotten like maybe a regular job or something that I could tolerate while I create art. So it wasn't a matter of like, oh, if I can't make money doing art, I'm just going to stop learning about art, stop studying art, stop creating art. So when my students ask me these things, it feels as though if they can't create a living or make money doing art, they're just going to give up like on the whole, right? And that's what I'm assuming. Maybe they're not. And that's just so crazy to me. So the fact that AI is generating art and people don't see a career in it, it is very, very scary to see those things. And it's scary to not be able to see the traditional path anymore. And the reason why it is impacting the first world countries so much and not necessarily me is because, and maybe some of you who are watching in developing countries could relate to this, is that growing up in a developing country, we've always had disadvantages. We've always had these kind of dreams that we feel as though we can never accomplish them because of where we are in the world. And working in the animation industry is something that is really, really hard to do, especially if you're not in North America. We always had those challenges, and I feel as though the artists that grew up in North America or grew up where there's a flourishing animation industry, they're beginning to understand how we as artists in third world countries have felt like our entire lives. We feel as though we'll never be able to achieve a dream because of this particular thing. Like for us, it was location, and for now in the first world countries, it is AI. AI might take your job, right? And I feel as though like because I was in a third world country, I knew that these walls were there. I knew that these things would like make it harder for me to get a job. But I still wanted to create art. I still wanted to pursue art and create it because, art is great when you can make money off of it, but it's not the sole reason why we create art. Something inherently in artists that just makes us want to create art. So AI being able to create art doesn't stop me from creating art. It might destroy the animation industry. It might make a lot of people lose jobs, but AI doesn't tie my hands and say, you can't make art anymore. You need to go and do another job without being able to create art. And I think that is the bright side that a lot of people are not looking at, is that no matter how much AI rips off our art or is able to generate art as fast, it's not stopping us from creating art. It's not saying you can't go and create that manga, you can't write that story, you can't write that poem. And it's very similar to what photography did to painters, back in the day when the camera was invented. A lot of the regular people would go and, have their picture taken instead of like hire an artist to do like a portrait. And as that happened, photography was more for like the regular person. They could just go and take a picture because it wasn't so rare to always have your picture like taken. The price was expensive at first, and then it just became cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But to have your painting done like just became rare and rare and rare. So it became more of like a luxurious thing to have done. Like rich people would get their painting done instead of like taking a picture, because everybody could take a picture, but not everybody could have their painting done. It's very similar to that. I feel like something like that will happen, whereas art created by humans will be more of like a luxurious thing, and AI art would just be like easily cheap generated stuff that anybody could do and anybody could have. And in that way, art created by humans might become more valuable. Maybe I'm just predicting these things. These are just my thoughts on AI and AI art. And AI art, the value of it may go down because it's more free. It's like anybody could just go and create an image, or anybody could generate like some kind of weird video, and the value of art created by humans may go up. There may be less jobs where a studio hires you and pays you 10K a month, and you're collecting your salary every month, and you're happy and you're comfortable. More artists may need to become entrepreneurs and start their own business. And artists may not just need to know how to create art, but they may need to know how to run a business and do marketing and build a team. So that may be the direction that artists may need to go to. But the great thing about human created art is that it won't become illegal for you to create art. You will still be able to create art. It just might be a bit more difficult for you to generate money. You might need to put yourself in a more uncomfortable place in terms of like business and marketing to generate money. Because another example in terms of history, when the Industrial Revolution happened, right? A lot of jobs were lost because we didn't need like a lot of people to like put like stuff on an assembly line anymore. Like machines could have done it, right? Now the thing about those jobs is that people did not go to an assembly line because they love going to assembly line. They went there because that was a job, and they needed to do that job, and they needed to put the whatever product together, and they just did it for a paycheck. So when they lost their jobs, they didn't go home and create an assembly line for them to like create stuff. They didn't love that job. That's a big difference between artists and just other types of jobs, right? We could actually, if we don't get the studio job, we could go and still create art. We could create our own IP. We could do a webtoon or whatever, a comic or animation, and upload it on YouTube. And we could still have a fan base, we could still generate money. It's just that big studio jobs probably won't be high in demand anymore. It's just like the few elites will be in the studios creating movies, right? Now that's kind of sucky. I don't want that to happen. Even though I'm just predicting what could happen, I don't actually want that to happen, right?
Hey guys, I just want to take a quick second to tell you about my storyboarding mentorships. If you are someone who is pursuing a career in storyboarding for feature animation and you are struggling to achieve your goals, this mentorship program might be right for you. No matter what skill level you are, I will help you become a better storyboard artist so that you could create the sequences that will make your portfolio much more impressive. I've helped past students get into their dream animation schools and their jobs on their first feature film without even having to move to America. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, you can message me on Instagram or LinkedIn and we can schedule a free consultation call to see which mentorship is right for you. Now back to the video.
The second thing I want to talk about is it's all about money. Everybody is angry because they're not going to get potential money that they can make. And I feel as though if people could get money, they would be happy. Right? So, for example, the idea of AI scrapping your art or learning from your art and then using that knowledge to generate images. It's not the fact that the AI is scrapping your art and generating images that people are angry about. The fact is, people are angry that they're not able to make money off of it, right? So if AI used to pay you every time you get your art scrapped, I'm pretty sure people would be happy. I'm pretty sure, like, if it was a system like Spotify where somebody listens to your song and you get like, half of a cent for every listen of the song. If every time AI software, AI company use your art to train their AI, if the artist used to get some kind of compensation like 1 cent every time images generated with the data that AI used from your art, I think people would be happy. I don't think people would be like, oh my God, this AI stole my style. No, it's the fact that the AI took your style without you getting money. So I feel as though to make peace, if companies pay artists who the AI scrap their work, I think people would be happy. I think there would be like a kind of nice balance of like AI and humans creating art and humans getting their fair compensation for AI like scrapping like their art. And this is not just like the generated art. This could be like, poems and essays and stuff like that. If everybody's able to be compensated, I think everybody would be happy. I don't know if that's a sustainable business model for the AI companies. Yeah, if it's not sustainable, well, probably shouldn't have it as a business anyway. That's my opinion on that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the stigma of using AI. In the animation industry or any type of art industry, if you get caught using like AI, or you generate AI or anything like that, you're going to be scolded, you're going to be like chastised, you're going to be blacklisted. People are just going to talk shit about you. I think artists just shouldn't care, to be honest. This is the direction that the world is going. If somebody generated a AI image and then they use it as a reference, who cares? Like it doesn't really like matter to me. I have like a little like nitpick where people say AI artists. I think people should just say AI generator or something like that, because like you're not actually creating art. You're just kind of like generating images based on like a prompt or generating an essay based on a prompt. But yeah, that's just my personal thoughts on that. Now, with regards to storyboarding, because I'm a storyboard artist, I'm a professional storyboard artist in the animation industry, there are a lot of new AI software that's coming out to do storyboarding, and I've checked out a lot of them and I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to make things cheaper. You just pay a subscription and then you could storyboard things yourself. And for me, in working in animation industry and working with a director and understanding the process of storyboarding, I don't think those software have reached the point where they can replicate that process that we do in feature animation, that human process of working with the director and understanding his vision and taking notes and knowing exactly what to draw and how to draw a specific angle exactly the way that he wants it and how to do an acting performance exactly the way that he wants it. And the great thing about working in feature animation is that a story team might be like, 7 to 10 people on a team. And each person has a unique voice and a unique vision that they would bring to the film. And then there are like these serendipitous moments that like happen and new ideas are formed and the director might get a new idea to put in the film that he never thought about. And those things could never happen using like a storyboarding AI software that generates quick image of like a storyboard. I think what that is probably useful for at this point is like commercials, people just wanting to generate quick images because they have no idea how to bring an image from their head to the page or even generate an image at all from their mind. But unless AI reaches the point where like I am literally talking to you out there. If I'm an AI and you're listening to me, if an AI gets to this kind of point where I could talk to you and the AI responds back to me, I don't think AI could replicate that organic human process of ideas and brainstorming and sharing ideas and having things bounce back and forward just yet. Who knows what will happen in the future, but we'll see what happens there. But like I've personally used that software and it's very, very like unfulfilling. It's not like I don't like to do it. It's not fun. It doesn't feel very creative. It just feels very mechanical. It sucks all the life out of creating art and it doesn't even feel like art creation anymore. And maybe that's why there's an appeal for the producers and the executives, because you just get rid of the artists and you could get straight to the point, I guess. But there's no soul in the creation like of it. And again, if you want to use that, if you're a producer and you want to use that, fine, I'm not going to scold you. But at the end of the day, you can't stop me from creating art the way I want to create art. If we get to the point where there's a AI movie in the cinema and there's a human created movie in the cinema, I just hope that the industry will allow, the humans to stay in the cinema, and we could still create art and we could still put out art for the market to decide whether they like AI art or whether they like, human art. And it's totally up to the market on, what they like. And if it reaches the point where AI is literally making better movies than Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve, well, I think we deserve to lose, right? Because if we can't make better movies and better stories than AI, I think we deserve to lose, right? And I think that's the new kind of goal, right? Is to beat AI. Is like as a human, we need to create better art than AI and just like show the market that AI cannot create better art for us. AI has its uses. Find the cure for cancer. Take away like jobs that people don't want to do, like washing dishes or cleaning or cutting the lawn and stuff like that. Like AI will have its uses, and we need to show the market that it needs human beings to actually create art, because art is about living a life and then sharing your experiences with the world through your art. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on AI. I think I've discussed everything I want to talk about, with AI. If you fully disagree, if you like hate that I'm actually don't care about AI and I'm not fighting the good fight as a lot of people on the internet would say, let me know in the comments, argue with me. I really don't care, to be honest, because at the end of the day, I will create art no matter what happens. And I think if you are an artist out there or aspiring artist and you're wondering whether you should continue making art, yes, you should always create your art. It doesn't matter if you're making money off of it, whatever. create that thing and bring it into the world, because once it's in the world, it can never go away. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure and like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.